The Chief Executive Officer, Occupational Health and Safety Managers, Ehi Iden, is with us in the studio. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Yes, we've been reeling out all kinds of information about yellow fever, the prevalence and all of that. But tell us exactly what yellow fever is.
Good morning, viewers. Yellow fever.
Sorry, just before you go ahead, we noticed something you're wearing on your, is that part of it?
I love prevention.
Okay, okay.
It's good you pointed that one out.
Nice.
Yes.
Yellow fever is a hemorrhagic virus infection that's caused by a certain kind of mosquito called the Aedes mosquito. And these Aedes mosquitoes are infected.
Aedes?
Yes, Aegis.
Yes.
When they get infected and they bite any human being, and that human being is bound to be infected. But the good news is that yellow fever cannot be transmitted from a human being to another human being. That's where we're a little safe right now. That's why the advocacy is on right now, that those who live in such an infected area right now need to see how they can work out a way to prevent against mosquito bite, because now you cannot pinpoint when that mosquitoes are available, and if it just has access to another human being, that's another yellow fever that will be transmitted to another person. But the irony of it all is that when you have yellow fever infection, the liver is at risk. So it goes straight to actually compromise your liver, and when liver breaks down, you know what that means to any human being.
Become prone to
renal failure and what have you. So it has very basic symptoms like headache, joint pains, muscle pain, and fever. So when you have these symptoms actually seeing in your body, don't just assume it's normal malaria you have. At the point that we're in right now, it's important you run to a facility to be diagnosed of what you really have. I mean, they take your blood sample, the serum, they run lab check for you to be sure that it's not
yellow fever. All right, you mentioned some of the symptoms, which could be muscle pain, vomiting, fatigue, and all of that. But is everyone infected? I mean, is everyone infected, with the disease? That's yellow fever. Will everyone, feel such, symptoms before, one could be diagnosed?
That's one that sad part to it. You may actually be a carrier without actually having those symptoms directly. So that's where it's difficult. So you may actually be infected with the yellow fever virus and not show such symptoms. That's where it becomes critical. So, but what WHO actually advocated is for everyone to actually get vaccinated, because if you get infected and you don't show such visible symptoms, it means you just carry it along until you die without even knowing.
Does it mean the person is already immune to yellow fever?
I didn't get
what
that.
Exactly?
No,
if the person does not present the symptoms
it's just difference in individual immune system. You can have it just like hepatitis B.
Yes.
You can have it be a carrier without actually manifesting the visible symptoms. That's just how it comes.
Wow. Okay. So now, are there vaccines in Nigeria? I mean, we've heard government is prepared to face yellow fever headlong. How really prepared is government?
Well, I have read about this for the past couple of days, and we're ready to do public vaccination. I don't know how prepared government is, because it's always what we always find out is when issues like this happen. Even at a point, we're looking for yellow fever vaccination in this country, we couldn't find. And just like when the meningitis came, we didn't have vaccine. Now we have yellow fever here. I'm not sure we have a population. So know how much we need to get vaccine to vaccinate the whole population.
That's huge.
But the head of the disease control center, Ehi Kwazo, in the wake of this impending outbreak, has said that we shouldn't bother. There is no cause for alarm. But do we need to fold our arms and not worry about this impending outbreak?
There's an outbreak. You have to just get worried, because you have children who live and school in other communities outside where you are, and that may be a community or an environment where you have the outbreak, and you are not sure about the immunity. And though it has about 10 years immunity when you take this vaccination, but you realize even in this country, when you take the immunization, for children after 9 months after birth, and nobody ever remembers to go back to immunize these children.
I think the last time we did was in 2005 that we had a massive vaccination.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about children that were born after then? We give them the vaccination, and afterwards, it's supposed to actually, after 10 years, you go take on that. But we don't do that, and when you have such issues come out, everybody's running head and sky. That's why the panic is coming in. So everybody needs to just get worried. I mean,
it's even very troubling when you hear that one outbreak, one fatality is an epidemic proportion already.
It is.
Why is yellow fever that bad?
Because it, like you already read out, it has about 50% mortality. So when it happens, I mean, within the first 2 weeks, anybody can die. Wow. So it's a critical thing. If you go back to 2007 or 1986, when we had the largest outbreak, I mean, we had about 113,000 infections, and killed how many? 24,000 people. So it's such a violent, it comes in speed and kills in speed.
It's almost worse than Ebola. And
it is, and that's why we should all be concerned. But right now, instead of getting worried about, I mean, how it kills, let's try and take some preventive measure within our locality.
So what do we do?
Now, I recommend that people who live in such locality or environment where have the outbreak already recorded should learn to sleep under mosquito-treated nets for now. It's cheaper for you than treating yellow fever in the long run.
But you know, okay, sorry, go ahead. Just finish.
Then you wear clothing that can actually cover you to a great deal without actually exposure to mosquito bite. You can actually take care of those stagnant water within your environment, because that's where mosquitoes breed, and when they breed, you never can tell which of them has Aegis virus that can actually get you infected. So these are some of the things we can actually do, and try and lock up your windows when the time of mosquitoes come out in the evening, and so like you can just be safe.
Lock up the windows. That means no ventilation.
Because that's the question I wanted to ask. You know, sleeping under the mosquito treated mosquito nets. All right. I have tried it, you know, on a number of occasions, but it didn't work for me.
How?
You know, but I'm going to ask about people who are in high temperature areas, because the mosquito net could, you know, cause.
I totally agree with you.
You understand? So how do people in such area, you know, comply with that?
Let me return this question back to you. What would you rather get? Yellow fever, or you just suffer heat?
Well, like they say, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance, and we're not about to do that. So you are trying to educate us, enlighten us on exactly what, you know, each person needs to do. Before we come to the issue of what does government need to do, how do we help ourselves as individuals? One, use the
mosquito-treated
net, yes.
And also take care of the environment. Sanitation is very crucial at this time, because you look at some areas where you have tires that are no more in use and they just left around the neighborhood, and you see what the rainwater concentrate in those tires. That's a breeding spot for mosquitoes. Get rid of those things. If you have water channels where there's stagnant water, get rid of those things. In your homes, things that you know that are left behind to breed mosquitoes, get rid of those things. The fewer mosquitoes we have in our environment, the better for us at this point. So that's just all the precautionary measure we can take on our own before looking at government. Then if you have a family, you know you can afford the vaccine. For me, I don't choose to wait for government. Walk into any vaccination center and take the vaccine, and ensure that you cover your family for that. Because at this time, any exposure rate, I mean, it's fatal for anybody. So if you can afford to walk to any facility, ask if they have
yellow fever vaccine,
then you just take the vaccine. And
how expensive is it?
Well, that's on that area to it. That's also, I think, is why people don't really have a continuation taking the jab of vaccine after 10 years, because it's also expensive. The last one I took, I think I was traveling then, it was almost about 5,000 thereabouts. So imagine a mother has about 7 children like my father had.
So what you're saying is, I remember the first time I ever went abroad in 1979. I had to take the yellow fever. That was a long time ago. Yellow fever vaccine. Which means I'm overdue multiple times over to take the yellow. Oh my God! And I'm supposed to be more enlightened than the ordinary Nigerian. So that paints a picture by itself.
Yeah, it is, because and again we don't talk about these things until they happen, and that's where public health enlightenment and awareness is a key issue here. Let's not wait till these things happen before we start talking about it on radio, on television, on papers.
Being proactive rather than retroactive.
Exactly. We should. I mean, the Ministry of Health has an arm of public health arm. This is part of their responsibility. Let's talk about diseases. I mean, even the center of I mean, I must commend the guy who's the CEO of CDC right now in Nigeria. Yeah. I mean, for the first time we are seeing CDC being really active in Nigeria. I mean, when meningitis came, they were up to the game, and here again they're up to this guy. We must give them kudos.
But there are people who will argue with you on that score. As far as many people are concerned, it looks like the CDC, all the CDC does is to tell us the fatality, the number of people who have died from the disease. When you ask about research, you hear, no, there's not enough funding to actually, carry out research, to be able to bring about vaccines and all of that.
Can I tell you more about this? Because I was in CDC conference, a couple of months ago, and I was very impressed. I had the same opinion you had until I went to the CDC conference in Abuja, and I was amazed the level of work that residents were sent to do in most of these affected areas. Even when it came to a meningitis period, I mean, I saw the work that was being done in those high meningitis birth region, and not just that the figures were cooked. We saw all the researchers, the people that went out to do the studies. They presented their reports, and that I have never seen being done in Nigeria before. Right now, they have grants from I think CDC America and USAID. So there are a lot of people that are on scholarship, that are on the field doing research. Like this is happening right now. They have deployed men to the field. Right. And this we didn't have before now, but we must give them kudos for it. But let me quickly add here. Yes. There are also some set of people who can actually access the vaccine.
Well, the mathematical model used in assessing Nigeria's situation suggests that urban areas like Lagos could have up to 4.5 million cases, along with about 128,000 deaths recorded. What kind of impact do you think these might have on our health facilities?
Well, you must not also forget that every day we have what you call rural-urban migration. People are being pressed to leave the local area, come to the cities. Understand also that the infrastructures in these cities are not being expanded at the rate at which population is expanding. Definitely, it's going to have a whole lot of impact on our system, because you have you have fewer facilities having to care for more population. Look at even the number of doctors we have in our system. We don't have enough doctors. I mean, look at the WHO doctor per head ratio. We don't have enough doctors or healthcare workers in our system to care for this. So when you have such issues happen, and because of the population expansion in the urban areas, you are going to have the healthcare workers or the healthcare facilities, even if they're able to give care, they will be so overdrawn. Let me use that. They'll be so overdrawn because they have more people that they can take care of. That's why it's critical when you have this issue happen. What you need to do, what government does is let's quickly guide against the spread of this thing within a population, because when we are allowed to expand beyond this, it will overwhelm everybody that we can't really take care of the people that we have, and that increases the level of mortality.
Aren't we getting to the level of being overwhelmed right now? You talk about the healthcare professionals themselves. How well equipped are they in terms of not only the equipment they have, but the training facilities they have to actually tackle such outbreaks?
Well, that's a cry we've always had in this country, because when you look at the healthcare facilities and you look at the fund that's been allocated for healthcare system in Nigeria, it's really so disappointing. And when you from these funds that you have, you cannot even buy equipment, you can't even send doctors for training. So that's a big gap we have, because as technology improves, as diseases mutate and transmutate, the level of skills you need to actually combat this disease also have to be scaled up, a great deal. But we don't have that really happening, in line with how disease trends are changing. And that also falls back to what we have called budgets within the healthcare system. We are just underfunded. And if we really want to step up the game and be same level with other countries of the world, we should take it as a matter of priority, because a country can only be measured by will be measured by number of human resources that they have. We have that population.
That budget is about 4.17%.
It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go anywhere.
The national budget. Let's come back to the issue we're trying to discuss when we went on that break. The availability of vaccines and why the CDC cannot actually step to the plate when it comes to providing research and vaccines to tackle such diseases. You were trying to explain to us the disparity between Francophone and Anglophone countries.
Yes, you realize most time, I mean, I brought out because he mentioned Senegal. Why Senegal?
Why?
Most of the vaccines we actually use here, then we don't manufacture vaccines in this place. They are all imported. And you realize, even in global politics, if we know how to play it, it will be in our favor. But I realize, personal opinion, that the Francophone African countries know how to play this politics more. And most times, you find out that most of these preventive actions get to them before they get to us. So, I mean, most projects that are designed, I mean, I just came out from a conference in Singapore, and right in that conference, I realized there was a project that was being run across Africa, but while I was nosing into details, I found out that not even an English-speaking African country was accommodated in this project, but we all domiciled in the Francophone countries. So these are the things we should be looking at, because they know how to find a way. The French know how to care for their people. By extension, the Francophone countries in Africa. And that is where we're having this issue.
Could corruption be a factor in all of this?
I won't say yes, I won't say no, but I will tell you that if I have given you money to do a project for your people, and the funds were embezzled, that you couldn't account for them, what is the encouragement? Why would I be motivated to give you more when the ones I give to you fell into private pockets?
All right, we're talking about mass vaccination of people, which was last done in 2005, and the health minister said that sometime in December it would take place. Now, do you not think that we have a challenge on our hand here? Let me make reference or allude to what happened in Bayelsa sometime last week or thereabout, when the monkeypox broke out. There were pictures that emerged on the internet of children who were running away from school that the military authorities, in the state, came to, vaccinate them with, monkeypox, and then they were running away from it. And then in the northern region as well, you also have this issue, phobia for, vaccination. How do you begin to solve that problem of educating people that, look, what we're trying to do is for your own good?
When we have such incidents in the country, and the information is not properly managed, we now allow miscreants to hijack the information and create fear within the society. And that's what the Ministry of Health, not just the Ministry of Health alone, even the Ministry of Information should be able to actually come hand in hand with the Ministry of Health to actually manage this information, because you are not giving information out to the people. People are not having access to information. When you don't have access to the right information, people are bound to feed you with wrong information to create fear for whatsoever reason, or I don't know, but that's what naturally happens. But I think at the point we're in right now, we're thinking of embarking on mass vaccination of Nigerian population with yellow fever vaccine. Government should start now and start creating the right information. Let them understand the processes you're in. Take the public along. If I know what you're doing, I will willingly subject my children to you to get vaccinated. But you're not telling us what you're doing, and the other people are telling us this is not right. Government wants to do this. So now I'm having misinformation. I don't know who to believe in. So government should step up their game right now. Start telling people. We have the radio, we have the television, we have the newspapers. Take it as a daily activity. Keep educating people. Yes, we have
even
this
in their own local languages.
We have community healthcare workers. Go to those places. We have this available right now. Let's take Kwara State as an example right now. We have outbreak in Kwara State. Some people in Kwara State right now, I can tell you right now that they don't even know there's an outbreak in their state.
Can you bid that?
So let's take the information to the people in their locality, in their local language. We have this. Let them know what the symptoms are, because when you know what the symptoms are, when you see them, you're able to actually raise an alarm. But what about a man that lives in hinterland and does not know what the symptoms to look out for? And when it happens, you just feel one of those malaria stuff, and they keep managing that patient until the patient dies.
Everything is Ebola in this part of the world.
There is a proverb that says, that the disease that you know of does not take your child away from you.
Correct.
Absolutely. I think we need to re-emphasize that.
Sure.
Really. And it's even made more complex or complicated, if you like, for a society that is 70% illiterate. So how, I mean, it's like government really has its job cut out for it in terms of really informing the people. Now, since yellow fever broke out in Kwara in September or thereabouts,
Yeah.
and government is telling us that it will start mass vaccination by December. Is it coming too late to the party? Can Nigeria really afford this?
To me, I think that is rather late, because if you look at how diseases how they actually migrate from a place to place, that's rather late. I mean, we saw just a case in Kwara. That was last month.
Yes.
How many cases do we have right now? How many states have been affected? So we are waiting till December. I mean, we're going to have
Imagine how many more
spreading,
Yeah.
and we're going to lose more life. I mean, I would have thought we take a clue from what happened to us in 1986, when we had so much mortality as a result of this outbreak. We shouldn't allow that to happen again. The government should be up and doing and play their role. Because if you look at it in the recent of it, I'm not sure there's any private individual that goes to import vaccine to this country. It's the rule of government. Governments can go exclusively import vaccine to this country. They can do this thing, because I'm sure when you were planning your budget, you made provision. I mean, we have a national program on immunization. That's their role. They should make the vaccines available and see how they can actually disseminate dispatch into every state and let people get vaccinated.
How effective is that program, national program on immunization? It's been a long time that we actually heard any activities.
It's been there, in all fairness, and I think what they do more is actually focusing on vaccines that are taken at the birth. I think that's what we do more. That, if you can see what we have right now.
Primary level.
Yes. So they focus more on those vaccines. So children who are actually giving birth to the much I know, they still have access to vaccines, and this, it should be credited to NPI.
All right. Now, something caught my attention. I think it was yesterday. I was on the news and I read about the flooding in Kwara State, Kwara State, and then some local governments were flooded, and then there was one of the advisors to the governor who said that, look, we're calling on the federal government to come to our aid, that even if we stopped to pay salary for a whole year, we will not be able to solve the problem. And that raised my concern vis-a-vis funding. So if you have that kind of situation, what do state governments need to do in terms of trying to ensure that they do not wait on the center to tackle issues like this?
I think we have many countries, many states in this country. If your state has been affected, the way I would think rationally, I wouldn't wait for the government at the center. I will see what I can do, because the earlier you start, you're able to actually combat the little population that has been affected. You don't have to wait for the government. I mean, the whole of Kwara State has been, I think it's just Ifelodun local government or so.
Then Party G.
Just close that local government. That becomes your focus at the moment. See what you can do for that local government. You mustn't, go around the whole state. But in the interim, let's really tackle what we can do, even if help comes from the center. But let's see what we can use our resources that we have, locally, to actually control this prevalence of this disease and ensure that people are safe and free.
Okay. Ehi Iden, CEO, Occupational Health and Safety Managers, thank you so much for joining us on TVC Breakfast. Hope to see you again sometime soon. Hopefully we'll be talking about more positive things and not such outbreaks.
Thank you for coming.
All right.
Yeah.